Chapter 1 of the New Trading for a Living, titled Trading the Last Frontier, introduces trading as a path to personal freedom, independence, and the ability to live and work anywhere in the world. Dr. Elder shares his own journey from being a psychiatric resident to becoming a trader, sparked by reading how to buy stocks during a cross-country trip. His early success led to overconfidence, followed by years of struggle, loss, and learning. He emphasizes that while many are drawn to the allure of quick profits, most fail due to the difficulty of the game, ignorance, or lack of discipline. Elder underscores that trading success requires treating it as a serious intellectual pursuit rather than a gamble, and that defensive money management is essential to survival. He compares the temptations and risks of trading to extreme sports, rewarding but dangerous without strict safety rules. Ultimately, he frames the book's purpose: to equip readers with the psychological tools, analytical skills, and risk control strategies needed to overcome the odds and succeed in the markets. Chapter 2 of the New Trading for a Living, Psychology is a Key, explains that a trader's emotions, such as fear, greed, anxiety, or overconfidence, directly influence decision-making and often determine success or failure. Dr. Elder stresses that most amateurs focus on finding good trades but neglect the equally critical task of managing their own mindset. Winning traders understand both their own psychology and the mass psychology of the market crowd, which drives price movements. Drawing on his background in psychiatry, Elder points out that good trading, like good psychiatry, requires seeing reality clearly and acting on facts rather than fantasies, regrets, or wishful thinking. He also observed that while most traders are men, women often achieve higher success rates due to greater discipline and lower arrogance. The chapter outlines the book's structure around the 3 pillars of trading, psychology, market analysis, and risk management, held together by good record keeping. Elder's message is that mastering the mental game is not optional but fundamental, because without psychological discipline, even the best trading system will fail. Chapter 3 of the New Trading for a Living, The Odds Against You, explains why most traders lose money, not only because of emotional and impulsive decisions, but also due to the structural disadvantages built into the markets. Dr. Elder highlights that trading is a minus-sum game, where winners receive less than losers lose because of costs like commissions, slippage, and bid-ask spreads, which drain money from traders and feed the trading industry. He details how even small commissions can significantly erode returns over time, and urges traders to negotiate for the lowest possible rates and trade less frequently. Slippage, getting a worse price than expected, can be even more costly than commissions, especially in volatile or thinly traded markets, making the use of limit orders essential except when placing stops. He also warns about the hidden costs of bid-ask spreads and stresses that traders must avoid overpaying, trade liquid markets, and keep meticulous records to measure these costs. The chapter concludes that to survive and thrive, traders must treat these market frictions like dangerous predators, manage them aggressively, and design systems that minimize unnecessary trading.
Chapter 4 of the New Trading for a Living, Why Trade? Explores the various motivations that draw people into trading, ranging from rational goals like financial independence and self-fulfillment to irrational drives like thrill-seeking or gambling. Dr. Elder notes that beginners often start cautiously, experience a few wins, and then become overconfident, which can lead to reckless risk-taking and heavy losses. Trading offers unique appeals: freedom to set one's own schedule, the ability to work from anywhere, and the intellectual challenge akin to combining chess, poker, and video games, but it also attracts risk-takers and loners willing to leave behind routine security. Elder emphasizes that for successful traders, the main objective is not simply to make money but to trade well. Profits follow as a byproduct of skill and discipline. He shares the example of a seasoned day trader whose emotional state remains steady regardless of daily gains or losses, focusing entirely on executing trades correctly. However, he warns that while trading can be a path to personal growth, it can also become an outlet for self-destructive tendencies if approached without self-awareness, discipline, and a clear plan. Chapter 5 of the New Trading for a Living, Reality versus Fantasy, addresses the dangerous illusions that many traders carry into the markets and how these fantasies sabotage success. Dr. Elder explains that successful traders are realists who understand their abilities, limitations, and the actual conditions of the market, while losers often act on unrealistic expectations. He outlines several common myths. The brain myth is the belief that winners possess secret knowledge, leading some to waste money on overpriced systems or dubious trading secrets. The undercapitalization myth is the notion that failure is due to a small account size, when in reality poor money management and overtrading are the true culprits. The autopilot myth is the fantasy that an automated system can generate endless profits without human oversight, ignoring that markets constantly change and systems decay. Finally, the cult of personality describes the blind faith traders' place in gurus, whether market cycle prophets, method sellers, or legendary but often mythologized dead traders. Elder warns that relying on such fantasies is a substitute for personal responsibility. To succeed, traders must trade with their eyes open, reject wishful thinking, focus on sound psychology, follow clearly defined rules, and practice disciplined risk management. Chapter 6 of the New Trading for a Living, Self-Destructiveness, examines how many traders sabotage their own success through impulsive behavior, gambling tendencies, and unresolved psychological issues. Dr. Elder explains that while trading attracts intelligent and ambitious individuals, it also appeals to gamblers and thrill seekers who prioritize excitement over disciplined decision-making. He describes gambling as an addiction without a drug driven by the need for action and emotional highs, and warns that traders who can't resist the urge to trade excessively are likely acting out a gambling compulsion. Beyond gambling, he highlights self-sabotage as a deeper issue, where traders unconsciously create situations that lead to failure, often repeating destructive patterns from their personal lives. Without the natural safety nets present in most professions, the markets become a demolition derby in which one reckless move can lead to financial ruin. Elder stresses that overcoming self-destructive behavior requires accepting responsibility for results, identifying recurring mistakes through meticulous trade journaling, and building a psychological safety net. He suggests that traders apply principles from Alcoholics Anonymous, combine strict money management with self-awareness, and treat failure as a curable condition by addressing its root causes rather than blaming luck or others. Chapter 7 of the New Trading for a Living, Trading Psychology, emphasizes that even the best trading system will fail if a trader's emotions such as fear, greed, arrogance, or overexcitement interfere with decision-making. Dr. Elder notes that trading pits individuals against some of the sharpest minds in the world, with commissions and slippage already tilting the odds against them, making psychological discipline essential. Many traders self-destruct after a few wins by bending their rules, becoming overconfident, and taking reckless trades, often giving back their profits. Elder stresses the need to make trading as objective as possible by adhering to money management rules, keeping detailed spreadsheets of trades, and maintaining a diary with before and after charts. He shares his key insight from psychiatry gained through observing Alcoholics Anonymous that lasting change comes from altering how one thinks and feels, not just from short-term fixes. This realization led him to apply principles from addiction recovery to trading, recognizing that the ability to manage one's mental state and follow structured routines is just as important as technical skill in achieving long-term success. Chapter 8 of the New Trading for a Living. Trading Lessons from AA draws parallels between the struggles of losing traders and those of recovering alcoholics, showing how the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous can help traders break destructive habits. Dr. Elder explains that just as alcoholics must change their thinking to stay sober, traders must change their mindset to stop losing. He discusses denial, where alcoholics insist they can control their drinking, and traders believe they can control their losses by making minor adjustments, even as their accounts spiral downward. Both only begin recovery after hitting rock bottom, when the pain of losses or life collapse forces them to face reality. The first step in AA, admitting powerlessness over alcohol, translates in trading to admitting that emotions and poor discipline have made one's trading unmanageable. Elder emphasizes adopting AA's philosophy of taking it one day at a time, focusing on executing a single good trade rather than obsessing over long-term profits. He also notes the value of a support system, like AA's sponsors, suggesting traders find mentors or peer groups to maintain discipline. The core message is that lasting trading success comes not from a new system or market secret, but from reshaping one's habits, thinking, and self-control. Chapter 9 of the New Trading for a Living, Losers Anonymous, applies the 12-step recovery model of Alcoholics Anonymous to the specific challenges of trading, presenting a structured program for overcoming losing habits. Dr. Elder begins by acknowledging that traders who repeatedly lose often suffer from behavioral patterns that resemble addiction, chasing losses, overtrading, and breaking their own rules. He adapts the AA framework into 12 steps for traders, starting with admitting powerlessness over market forces and acknowledging that undisciplined trading has made life unmanageable. The steps encourage turning to a higher source of wisdom, performing a fearless moral inventory of trading mistakes, and admitting these shortcomings to oneself and others. Elder stresses the importance of making amends for financial and emotional damage caused by reckless trading, practicing humility, and committing to ongoing self-examination. A key takeaway is building a daily discipline, monitoring trades, following rules, and maintaining emotional balance, just as a recovering alcoholic stays sober one day at a time. By following this structured approach, traders can replace self-destructive impulses with disciplined, rational decision-making, giving themselves the best chance for long-term survival and success in the markets. Chapter 10 of the new Trading for a Living, Winners and Losers, explores the key traits that differentiate consistently successful traders from those who repeatedly fail. Dr. Elder explains that winning traders focus on preserving capital, controlling risk, and following a well-defined plan, while losers are driven by impulses, emotions, and the lure of quick profits. Winners understand that trading is a business, not a gamble, and they treat each trade as just one of many in a long series, avoiding emotional attachment to outcomes. They manage their positions objectively, cut losses quickly, and let profits run according to preset rules. In contrast, losers tend to hold on to losing trades in the hope they will turn around, take premature profits out of fear, and often overtrade, exposing themselves to unnecessary risk. Elder stresses that discipline, patience, and self-awareness are the real edge in trading, not secret indicators or magical systems. He encourages traders to honestly assess which category they fall into and to adopt the mindset and habits of winners, focusing less on being right in any single trade and more on executing their plan consistently over time. Chapter 11 of the new Trading for a Living, What is Price? Explains that price is the ultimate and most objective measure in the market, reflecting the consensus of all participants at a given moment. Dr. Elder emphasizes that while traders often rely on news, opinions, and analysis, none of these matter as much as the actual price, which incorporates all known information and the collective psychology of buyers and sellers. He notes that price is shaped by both rational factors, such as earnings or economic data, and irrational forces, such as fear, greed, and herd behavior. Elder advises traders to focus on what the market is doing rather than what they think it should be doing, stressing that arguments with price are always lost. Charts and indicators are simply tools to help visualize and interpret price behavior, but they must be understood as representations of human behavior under uncertainty. The core lesson is that price is the market's language, and traders who learn to read and respect it rather than trying to impose their own views will have a decisive advantage.